everyone, welcome to Pearl's Kitchen. If you like my video, give it a thumbs up, press the red button to subscribe to my channel and press the bell icon so you'll be notified for my upcoming video. It's all free. Thank you. Today, let's pray for all the carers around the world, be it in hospitals, care homes, or looking after our loved ones at home. I know it's hard sometimes because I'm a carer myself looking after the elderly. So may God give us patience and compassion, and may He take care of us while we take care of His people. Amen. Today I'm going to show you how to make chicken and mushroom quiche, and here are the ingredients. In this karai, I've got 2 tablespoons of olive oil and a knob of butter. I've got 7 mushrooms chopped. I've got half a red pepper chopped, half a green pepper chopped, and I've got 2 breasts of chicken, ready cooked chicken that I shredded, and I've got 1 large onion chopped, 2 cloves of garlic chopped. I've got 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg, 1/4 teaspoon of white pepper. I've got 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and I've got 4 rashers of bacon chopped and fried. This is optional. If you don't eat pork, you don't need to put that. I've got half a cup of cheddar cheese grated, half a cup of mozzarella cheese, and half a cup of Gruyere cheese. I've got 2 tablespoons of Parmesan cheese, and I've got 1.5 cup of double cream, and we'll need 4 eggs for it, and we'll need some chili flakes and parsley. That's all for garnishing, and that's the ingredients for the filling for the quiche. And now for the pie crust, here I've got 280 grams of maida, that's all-purpose flour, and got 1 teaspoon of salt to go in it, and I've got around 3/4 to 1 cup of water to go in it, and I've got 170 grams of grated butter or cut into cubes, and we'll need either rice, chickpeas or lentils, anything that's for blind baking the pastry crust. And we'll need a pastry dish, and my pastry dish is of 11 inches. Okay, today I'm going to show you how to make a savory pie crust. I've already showed you how to make sweet pastry, and that's on my treacle tart video. I'll put the link below. Okay, first thing we're going to do is add the salt in the flour. Use a fork and mix it around, or you can sieve it through. Make sure your hands are cold, because pastry is always made with cold hands. Now we add all the butter. Okay, and mix it with the fork. Okay, after mixing it with the fork, now you'll need to use your hand. I like to make this with my hand. Okay, now just try and break the butter and mix it into the flour so it resembles like breadcrumbs. Keep doing this till it's all mixed into the flour. You can see now it started to look like breadcrumbs. That's how you need it. And now in the water, make sure you put some ice cubes or use very icy cold water. And now just start putting water little at a time into the flour, and we need to form this into a dough. Only use little water at a time till it's all, you can bind it together. Okay, that's it. Once you've formed it into a dough, that's done. You don't need to knead this at all. You need to now put it in a cling film, and then pat it into shape. There you go. That's so easy. And now this needs to go in the fridge to chill for half an hour. Okay, as soon as your butter melts in the olive oil, you put the garlic first. few seconds later, you put the onions. Now you let the onions sweat for a couple or 2 or 3 minutes. Okay, the onions have been sweating for around 4 minutes. Now you're going to put the peppers, mixed peppers. Stir that in and add the mushroom as well. Now let that cook for at least 3 to 4 minutes. Okay, the mushrooms and the peppers have been cooking for 3 minutes. Now you add the bacon if you're using bacon. Like I said, it was optional. And then you add the chicken as well. You make this and try and give it a go, and it's really, really delicious. So now mix that, and then you put the salt, the pepper and the nutmeg. Sprinkle that all over. And now let that fry for at least 3 minutes. Okay, the chicken and bacon have been cooking for last 3 minutes. You didn't have to cook the chicken a lot because it was already cooked. Now just put the gas off and now let this mixture cool down. Okay, now the chicken and mushroom filling is still cooling down, and I've greased my pie dish, so make sure you grease it. And now this has been resting in the fridge for half an hour. Now we're going to start rolling the pastry. So take some flour, and now we need to roll it around 2 inches bigger than your pie dish. Okay, now gently start rolling it. Don't put too much pressure. I prefer to roll around the edges first, and then I go in the middle to make it bigger. So I'm going to do the edges first, so it doesn't crack so much. You can easily add more flour. Keep going till you roll it nice and big. Okay, I've rolled the pastry now. Always check with your pie dish that if it's big enough. Mine is, that's perfect. So now what we're going to do is put the pie dish there. Now take your rolling pin. It's always easier to lift up the pastry. And then put the pie dish here. Okay. And then put it on there, and then straighten out the edges. Okay, now with your finger make sure you press the edges in so it's all nicely tucked in. That's perfect. Okay, and now we're going to trim off the edges. Take the knife and just go around it. Okay, now you've trimmed off the edges. It's lovely, neat pie. Now don't throw this away. Always keep this. This freezes very well. I always keep this, and then when I make an apple crumble, I just grate this over the apple crumble or the apple pie. Okay, once your pastry is all, you've trimmed off the edges, you take the fork, and now you need to prick the pastry because that stops it from rising. So just keep going around. Okay, that's, you've made holes in the pastry. Now this needs to go in the fridge to rest for another 15 to 20 minutes. Okay, this pie crust has just come out of the fridge, but as soon as I put it in the fridge, I then made sure I put the oven on, because you need to preheat the oven onto 180 degrees. So my oven's already been preheated, and then you make sure you cut some baking sheet, and round baking sheet big enough to fit this pie, and then you place that over your pie, and then whatever you're using, whether you're using rice, lentils or chickpeas, then you start putting it all in there. Spread it out evenly. This stops the pastry from rising. And now this goes into the oven for 15 minutes. Okay, the pie crust has come out of the oven now. It had its 15 minutes. Now you remove the baking sheet and the lentil and rice, whatever you're using. Empty it back into the bowl. And now you need to put this pie crust back into the oven for another 10 minutes or until golden. Okay, while the pie is in the oven for the last 10 minutes, I've already beaten up my eggs, and now in there I'm going to add just a tiny bit of nutmeg. And then we're going to add the cream. Keep beating it. Okay, now mix this for 2 to 3 minutes and then keep that aside. Okay, the pie crust is out of the oven. My oven is still on because it has to go back into the oven. Now we're going to start assembling the quiche. So what we're going to do is take a little bit of the cheese and start sprinkling it. I always put some of the cheese at the bottom. And then we'll put all the chicken and mushroom mixture. Make sure it's all evenly spread out. Okay, just level this all out now. See how lovely and colorful it looks. You can press it a little bit. Okay, and now we're going to add the rest of the cheese. All around. And just level all the cheese around. Okay, after the cheese, we're going to pour in the egg and cream mixture, but before you pour it in, I've just added a pinch of salt in there, and then I've stirred it a bit. Now you just pour all this onto the quiche. After you've poured all the cream and milk mixture, you just garnish it with some Parmesan cheese. And then put some chili flakes, just to give it a kick. It won't be too spicy. This is just for garnishing. And then you can either use coriander or you can use some parsley. And that's your beautiful and delicious quiche assembled. Now this needs to go into the oven in the same temperature. In fact, I've actually increased the temperature to 180 degrees. Now this is going to go into the oven for between 35 to 40 minutes. Okay, our lovely quiche is out of the oven. It took exactly 35 minutes, and I took it out of the oven and let it rest for at least 10 minutes before we can handle it, otherwise it'll be too hot. It's still quite warm. So now we need to transfer it onto the board, and that's why I've used a removable pie base, so it's easy to come off. And you just take it, put it on an upside down tumbler or a steel glass, and then gently just start to slide the side down. And if it is a little bit sticky, just run a knife around it, but otherwise it should drop off easily, just like this. And then you just lift up the quiche because it's still got the bottom base on it, and then you just put it on a chopping board or a different plate, and now let it cool down for another 10 to 15 minutes. Okay, now the quiche has been cooling down for another 10 minutes. It's still warm. So I've just cut a slice there now. So you just lift up the slice, and now you can serve this with a side salad like I am. Hey, look at that. Beautiful. All the vegetables showing at the side. It is so, so delicious. Now this can be served with, you can put some coleslaw if you want as well. And that's your lovely chicken and mushroom quiche. Okay, this quiche can be eaten hot or cold. So try and have a go at it. And when you've made it, write on your comments what you think about it. And I shall see you next time with some more delicious cooking. But until then, may God go with you and give you His peace.